Hi everyone, it's Mitch. It's Sunday, December 21st. Great day yesterday. We went 4-0 against the spread, picking the bowl games. Can't ask for a better start than that. We're just going to try and keep it rolling. We know that, realistically we can't get them all right, but we're going to continue with our in-depth analysis, and we're going to do the best that we can. The ball takes some funny bounces. It certainly did in that Arizona BYU game. Most of them weren't going in our favor. Got a little touchy there. I was surprised that the game was even that close. Zona finally did it. Once they started playing football, they finally did extend the lead out to 17, only to give up the onside kick and then almost let BYU back in the thing. But the Wildcats held on for the victory. Congratulations to all the winners yesterday. Wake Forest, Colorado State, huge win for their program. As the underdog. South Florida, easy winner. They put the backups in the third quarter when they were only up by 20. You want to talk about a confident move, and then of course Arizona beating BYU in a game where the public was basically on BYU in that one, and we were all over Arizona. We loved them. So let's move on to tonight's game, and it's the New Orleans Bowl. The Troy Trojans, one of our official teams or unofficial teams that we've been on all season long. We love Troy. The reason why we always liked Troy all season was that we looked at their schedule. We said, well, let's see, who did they lose to? They lost to Ohio State, Oklahoma State, and that was the angle that we played most of the season. Then they go and they lose to Louisiana Monroe, pretty much unforgivable by a point. And then they win another game. Then they go into LSU. They're beating the tar out of them in Death Valley in the makeup game from the Hurricane, and then they let LSU back in it. So they've lost 4 games this year. It's Ohio State, Oklahoma State, LSU, and then the Louisiana Monroe game. The other side of the ball, we got Southern Miss, 6-6. You know how I feel about these 6-6 teams in the bowl games. I feel like they don't deserve to go. Southern Miss finished the season very strong. They're a good team. They're a talented team. I always take a look at, you have to kind of go inside the records, especially when you get to the bowl season, because the teams have played a full season, so we kind of know exactly what's going on. What's happened with Southern Miss and what's happened with Troy, as Troy is, all of a sudden, their last 2 games they finished really strong. Southern Miss, a team dependent on freshmen. Their 2 best players are freshmen. Their quarterback, Austin Davis, their wide receiver, DeAndre Brown. Their 2 best players are both freshmen. As the year went on, the freshmen got the experience. Not so miraculously, the team got better. They didn't really have the marquee win that you look for in a program, but they certainly had some nice wins, at the end of the season. They beat East Carolina, who won the conference. I mean, East Carolina, they stomped Tulsa. They're going to a nice bowl game. East Carolina, who beat Virginia Tech and West Virginia. I'm not a big believer in that. Well, we beat them and they beat them type thing. But you got to think that Southern Miss might be a little bit better team than a lot of people are giving them credit for. On the other side of the ball is Troy. We know that Troy played a lot of really tough physical teams. What happens when a team with not that much depth plays against a really tough physical team is they suffer a lot of injuries. They get dinged up, and this is exactly what happened to Troy. That Louisiana Monroe game, they didn't have their quarterback. They didn't have anything in that game. They were so banged up. I wish I had that pick back, but let's face it, we did really, really well, picking Troy this year. So, you can't always ask them to cover every single time out, though it certainly felt like they were gonna for a while there, didn't it? In any event, Troy started to get healthy again. They started to play the type of football that, became used to them playing. We saw in the second half of the LSU game, when primarily late in the second half, where they kind of just gave up and they let LSU win that ball game that they had won dead to rights. They could have easily packed in the tent the last 2 games of the season. Against not such bad teams, Louisiana Lafayette and Arkansas State, but instead they came out, they blew out Louisiana Lafayette by 45, and then they beat Arkansas State by 24. So I think Southern Miss is a good team. I think they're a lot better than what a lot of people are giving credit for. They're probably one of those teams that you could say, well, 6-6 is their record, so how can they be better than the record? Let's just say they finished strong. They could have easily packed it in. They won, I believe, 5 of their last 6 games. they're not. This is not a lock by any stretch of the imagination. But we are going to go with Troy. We've been on him all year long, and why not? I've enjoyed being on Troy, and I'm glad that we got on him early, and all the support that I got from all the people over at the Troy site. Their site, they made me like I'm an official member. I have a login and all that kinds of stuff over at the Troy site, and I appreciate that they did that for me early in the season because they knew that I was on board, and I really enjoyed watching the Troy games. So in any event, this is Mitch. Thanks for joining me. We're on Troy tonight. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. See you in the forums, and maybe we'll see you in the chat room.